I think most training departments, organisations, even companies who supply training to other organisations should have a training and learning strategy. And I think the challenge with this training strategy is it becomes a big thing. As soon as we say the word strategy for one thing, we get kind of a little bit anxious, sweaty palmed about it, because within most organisations what strategic means is the boss is interested in it. In actual fact, of course, the strategy is not like that at all. The strategy is your route map towards something. And one of the important things that I learned very early on in my kind of management career was that strategy, the most important part of strategy, is deciding what you're not going to do. So that's a start point, really, is to think about, well, what is it that we're not doing as well as what we are doing? And that leads you to talk about a strategy which you can get down, hopefully on one page. I'll give you a page and a half because some of these bits might take a little while to craft into one paragraph. But fundamentally, try and write a strategy which is one page and which covers 6 simple headings. So the first heading is, what's the aim of your training and development activities? What are you trying to achieve? Once you've defined that aim, and you can think about that as a mission or a vision, fundamentally if you can't wear it on a t-shirt, nobody will remember it anyway. So try and think about getting those words down to something which is focused around what it is that you're doing. One of the examples that I've used before is to become a zero-cost training operation. I think that's a really interesting one about how you can focus the rest of your business around that. Once you've identified your aim, identify whom your audience is. Now, it's very easy to say, well, we provide training for the organisation. Do you really? Is that really the audience for your training and development? Should you perhaps have a training strategy for leadership development? Should you have a strategy for induction? Should you have a strategy for people who work in your contact centre or on your shop floor or within your production department? Just think about how you can organise that strategy so it makes sense for people. And try not to do everything for everybody, otherwise your strategy becomes meaningless. So think about your audience, the aim, the audience, and then think about some of the activities that you're going to do within that. So what is it that you're trying to do? Are you trying to run courses? Are you trying to provide the very best e-learning platform? Are you trying to use a blended learning solution? Perhaps you're trying to incorporate work-based learning alongside formal learning, alongside coaching. So what are the activities that are going to be you're going to engage in within your learning and development? And then start to think a little bit about how you're going to assess it. Now, I don't necessarily mean assess in terms of sitting examinations or formal tests of that sort, but I do think you need to say what good looks like. What does success feel like, look like? How would you know it if you got there? Would you know when you've achieved what it is that you set out within your aim? So think about some measures. And of course, that's where the strategy in terms of the rest of the organisation really starts to make sense and become quite interesting, because those measures should be the metrics which your business is already using. I did some work with a motor vehicle manufacturer and sales organisation a few years ago, and when we started to look around the metrics that we would use for our training, it was very clear that the things which people were really interested in were unit sales, unit profit, numbers of appointments, and they were gathering loads and loads of information about these things. So why have people jumping through all sorts of hoops to gather lots of information that they're really not interested in? Focus on the things which matter to the departments that employ the people who make up your audience. Those will be the measures that you should use within that assessment. Then think about what actions you're going to do. What are the next steps that you're going to take, and how can those steps be put together in a sequence so that everybody knows where you are on the journey, what you're going to do next, but also give yourself some space to take on board the comments of other people within the business. If you plan the whole journey, people will go, well, I don't want to do that in April. So give people space to say, well, what would you like to do in April? How can we make this work around you? But have the next steps worked out so everybody knows where they're going. And then finally, what assistance do you need? Do you need the local business school? Do you need the local college? Do you need an external provider to come and do that work? Do you need people from the department? Do you need your chief executive to record a fantastic video or to be at the opening conference? Do you need a senior manager on every day of your induction program? What assistance do you need? You will have noticed, if you've been paying attention so far, that I've talked about the 6 A's of strategy. And those are the things that I think you ought to focus on one page if you possibly can, your aim, your audience, the activities you'll be involved in, your assessment, your actions, and finally, what assistance do you need? If you get all of those things into a single document, I think it will be easy for people to read, it will be easy for people to know where they fit in, and secondly, it will drive what your training and development department does.